The Pursuit of Jade. And I enjoyed watching this. However, with how many Korean sitcoms I have seen or Korean dramas I have seen, it could have been better. Hello there, namaste. So, Pursuit of Jade is a Chinese show about not Edo China, whatever, like back in the day China. And watching it, I gotta say, I enjoyed it. It's kind of like that love dynamic where two people end up falling for each other, but one of them doesn't know entirely who the other person is. And then it becomes a running gag of when will they find out? And this show runs for like, I think 40 episodes. And that's why I say it could have been better, because I think South Korea has mastered the formula of knowing the exact moment to reveal oh, this is the person you've actually been talking to. This is the person you actually got married to. This is the person. And it feels like it drags on way too much. And there are moments where the lead actress is being ridiculous. It was like, why would you act like that? Why would you say that? Why? Well, he's pouring his heart out to you. He was trying to protect you, that kind of thing. And then she's all, no, 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 no. And then there are also scenes where the guy is trying to do more. And it's just like, no, 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 you shouldn't do that. But of course, they end up getting together. That's spoiler alert. But I definitely recommend the series. It does drag on. It feels like there is a lot of filler there. I mean, also, it feels like whoever was writing it got a lot of inspiration from One Piece, especially the Wano arc, because there is one scene, and I kid you not, it is almost beat for beat from One Piece. From One Piece. You remember when he got imprisoned, he gets locked up, and then he starts competing with Kid. If you know One Piece, you know what I mean. If you don't know One Piece, this is all just white noise to you. She gets imprisoned in a camp where she needs to haul stones, just like Luffy and Kid did in the Wano arc. Exact same, beat for beat. And not only that, she finds a teacher there that teaches her more than she knew originally. Just like in One Piece, just like during the Wano arc. I saw that. I was just like, oh my gosh, they are a fan. They are an absolute fan. I like it. But then again, I saw similarities, so I'm like, okay, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Yeah, but in this film, it kind of shows the kind of not barbaristic, but how the world was at that point in time, where the reason why she got married and had a house husband in the beginning of the film is because her house would have been taken from her. Why? Because she's a woman and she can't own it. There has to be a man at the house who can actually take the lease. And it was going to get passed to her uncle, who was trying to steal the land from her and hated that side of the family. And there's even a whole history on her father and everything that goes on there. And I got to say, I actually did find that interesting, even though it's kind of cliche where it is an important person living a normal life, that kind of thing. They have this whole thing. They have this wedding. She ends up marrying this drifter who she saved, found bleeding in the snow. And then like two episodes later, her uncle, her aunt, her grandfather, everyone gets massacred. Well, not so much. Like her family members get massacred. And it's just like showing the dark side of that. And everyone holds grudges until they realize, oh, it was my fault in the long run. Like there was so many scenes and situations where people thought they were higher and above everyone else. And I do gotta say, when I was watching this with my wife, there was one situation where this lady jumps in the river and then performs CPR on what turned out to be like a prince of the nation, a prince who was chased out of his kingdom and just wants to rule again. And in my head, I'm like, wait a minute. Why is she performing CPR? Only to find out, and they don't outright mention it, but apparently in the book they do, she is from the future. She's from the future and ends up in ancient China. However, even though they don't mention it, they hint at it throughout, where she's talking about, oh, I came from this, I did this, I knew this from way over here. That kind of mindset. Oh, it's just like, I'm not from here, I'm from far away. And then they're just like, oh, we can see if we can get you there. And if not, you can stay here and be my friend, that kind of thing. They hint at it, but they never outright say they're from the future, because with how this was performing, it would have kind of actually broken the narrative if they had mentioned she's from the future. Because with how it's playing out, it actually works for what they were doing. But mentioning that she's from the future would feel off. because it would change the whole dynamic. But for what it was, I liked it. I like that they hint that she's from the future. I like that how they give it a complete pass, that they perform CPR, because it comes into play later when somebody actually hears about it. It's like, oh, that's how it's done. Oh, thank you. And then they end up doing it later for another romantic interest. And with how many characters are so interconnected, I enjoy it. I enjoy these things where there's like intrigue and like, oh, I'm gonna have you go to this. Yes, it is more female kind of slop that like to eat, but I enjoy them. I enjoy them. Sue me, because so many the dowager queen is wanting to have her daughter marry one person who already cares for another person. However, the marquise friend cares about the dowager's daughter. It's just like there's so many triangles going on, and I just like it. I like this kind of stuff. It's enjoyable. I normally watch like a Bon Appetit, Your Majesty, or like Mr. Queen, all from the future who go to the past. You know, those kinds of narratives that they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch. However, what I liked about this one is even though this is from China and those were from South Korea, this one takes the perspective of, guess what? The people living in the time, not the person that comes from the future, because Mr. Queen, Your Majesty, and Bon Appetit, or Mr. Queen and Bon Appetit, Your Majesty, take the perspective of the person who gets isekai'd into the past. I highly recommend this film. I highly recommend this show. It's definitely worth a watch. It really is a slog. That's the downside, but I recommend it. I recommend it. It is enjoyable to watch, especially if you like the South Korean period pieces. It's definitely worth a watch. Even though it's not South Korea, it's China. As a foreigner, it gives me the same kind of vibes. Thank y'all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.
You guys got a video? So bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait on that.